Good afternoon, everyone. It's 4 o'clock. Swamiji has joined. We'll wait a couple of minutes and then we'll start.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, Piran, how are you?
Yeah, good. Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's 4:01. It's not fair to make the external speaker wait. We should start. Welcome to Swamiji, as usual, for being gracious enough to take this session every Sunday. Today, unlike normal Sundays, it's not at 11 o'clock, but at 4 o'clock. Over to Swamiji. Sir, please let's go on from here.
Yeah. Thank you, Ravi. And so today we will be discussing about the gist of what he says in the third chapter of the Gita. In fact, the third chapter of the Gita is called as Karma Yoga, the yoga of action. Ideally speaking, for people in the outside world, this is more practical. The other chapters, some of them are very deep, and that is for little deeper thinking and research, etc., etc. But this is very, very practical. So Karma Yoga means the yoga of action. Now, generally, Bhagavad Gita is misunderstood as a subject that will take one away from action. Whereas Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters and this third chapter is dedicated for action. First, in this, he talks about the importance of action, why one should act, and how through action one can slowly reach perfection. In fact, in this chapter, he talks about how to combine both peace and prosperity, how one can attain prosperity and one can attain peace. Because in world, if you observe, one set of people, they have tremendous prosperity because of their activities. They do a lot of action, they contribute a lot, they work hard. There's a lot of action and a lot of productivity and prosperity. But by their own admission, they say we have lost the peace. Another set of people in the villages, especially, relatively calm, composed, peaceful, but there's hardly any productivity or prosperity. So how to bring them together? So all that he talks about in this chapter. See, whenever we talk about action, there are three types of actions. One is called selfish action, other is unselfish action, and the other is selfless action. Selfish, unselfish, and selfless. The law is, if your action is selfish, you're bound to be agitated. Nobody who is selfish can be peaceful. No one who is selfless can be disturbed, agitated. It's a law. So the more and more the focus is upon oneself, the person will suffer a lot. That situation is compared to a cone that is resting on its peak, on its axis. A cone cannot rest on its axis without support. It can rest on its base, but it can't rest on its axis. So the moment you try to rest it like that, it needs support. Similarly, a person who's selfish, self-centered, all the time thinks what I will get out of an action, he will be disturbed. And the disturbance at the mental level will not allow him to think properly, and not thinking properly will not support him to do the right action. And when you don't do the right action, you don't get the result. When we talk about success, today's right action is the seed, and it will metamorphose into fruit tomorrow. It will be the one which growing into success or failure tomorrow. So if you do the right action today, it will become success tomorrow. If you do the wrong action today, it will be the failure tomorrow. So success belongs to the future, and right action or action belongs to the present. So in order to do the action correct, one needs to turn the attitude from selfish to unselfish to selfless. So all these he talks about in the third chapter. In this chapter, he introduces a concept called yajna. In fact, this word yajna, all of us know, especially from India, it's understood as fire worship. But actually, what is this fire worship symbolize? They have a kund, the trough in which there is a lot of wood put in, and they churn the wood and light the fire, and the participants bring in their contribution like ghee or grain or whatever. It's all stored in one corner, and each participant brings handful of grain, offers it to the fire. The fire shoots up and blesses him, and all that is offered is consumed, and finally they smear the ashes on the forehead and partake of the prasad, distribute the prasad to everyone. Now this worship, fire worship yajna, as a symbolism, the kund or the trough is what represents a family or an organization. And in this organization, all of us come together, bring in whatever we can, whatever our talent is, whatever our specific inputs are, we bring them in, pull them up together, and offer it in the welfare of the organization, the welfare of the country, the welfare of the particular family. Thus, when we function with this cooperative endeavor, the fire shooting up, fire represents the ideal, the goal. So all of us have to pool up our resources for the goal and offer it to the goal with no selfishness coming in there. How much I am doing, how much you are doing, what is that I am going to get, what is that you are going to get, that I should not come in. And when each one offer thus, keeping aside the I, there is a perfect cooperative endeavor that is created there. A conducive atmosphere that is created. In that congenial atmosphere, the productivity shoots up. And that blesses everyone, and each one gets their result as prasad. This is the beautiful symbolism of this concept called yajna. But unfortunately, a lot of us, without understanding the significance of this yajna, we just get stuck to the fire worship. And we get out of that fire worship. When we go to the organization, we don't maintain this concept of yajna while we are working. So in this third chapter, he introduces this concept called yajna and says, a person of high caliber, what he calls as sattvic, a person of that caliber contributes and eats the prasad. A person of rajasic caliber, mediocre, he contributes for his personal end, and as a result he develops a lot of agitation. Whereas a tamasic person doesn't contribute but eats in the contribution of the others, eats the benefit that comes out of the contribution of the others. So one fellow doesn't contribute, he eats without producing. Other person contributes for his selfish consumption. He will be getting prasad means result of agitation. And a person of high caliber, he contributes for the welfare of the world, being a spoke in the wheel of life. And with that attitude of benefiting one and all, he partakes of the result that comes out of it, which he calls as remnants of sacrifice. So he introduces a concept called Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha means welfare of the world. Now, if you carefully observe this universe, it is interdependent. A doctor is dependent on the engineer to set the equipments right when it goes wrong, the diagnostic equipments, without which he cannot diagnose what has gone wrong with the patients. So the doctor is dependent on the engineer. And the engineer is dependent on the doctor when something goes wrong in his body. So whoever you may be, however great or small you may be, in this universe, everyone is interdependent. So we are all a spoke in the wheel of life. So with the big picture being understood, he says, you simply do what you ought to do, keeping the big picture in mind. The unfortunate thing is when you compare the human being to other species, all other species do actions in the spirit of yajna. A rose doesn't say, today is Sunday, I'm not going to bloom, I'm not going to give fragrance. A cow doesn't say, I'm not going to milk today because, today is Sunday. Or I'm not being appreciated, I'm not being selected as the star cow of the year or the week, of nothing of that sort. It just simply gives milk. A coconut tree simply gives coconut. It doesn't get worried as to whether you're appreciating it or not, whether you're recognizing its services or not. It simply does what it ought to do. Sun doesn't say that I'm not going to rise because it is Sunday. So like that, if you carefully observe in this universe, anything and everything other than the human species does what they have to do with no prefix or suffix. But the human being who can do the same thing, who can function the same way consciously, unfortunately, consciously remains imperfect. It's the human being who thinks, what is in it for me? What others are doing, how much are they contributing? Only I have to work, nobody else will work. The I comes in. The more the I, the lesser the productivity. Remember this. Generally, a person may be a chatterbox, talking too much. But you give him a podium and tell him to talk, he becomes self-conscious and he cannot talk. So the moment the I takes over, the more the I, the lesser the output. Unfortunately, in this world, the people with I compete with each other. As a result, one fellow wins. That is not true productivity. The true productivity is when you are able to handle your mind and your ego. These are the two big obstacles which is within us. We are more concerned about obstacles outside, but the greatest obstacles are from within. The mind and the ego. What is the mind made up of? Mind is the seat of likes and dislikes, desires, impulses. This is your mind, my mind, everybody's mind. Likes and dislikes, desires, impulses, emotions and feelings. Whereas intellect is the faculty which can reason, judge, analyze, think, etc. Discriminate. So the moment mind takes over when I'm doing the action, the desire takes over, the likes and dislikes takes over. I am not doing what is the right thing to be done for the goal. I am seeing from my personal angle what I like, what I don't like, my convenience. The ego comes in. What is in it for me? How much I am doing. I am the doer. I am the only one who's doing. I am contributing more than others. Nobody else is working, etc., etc. So when the mind and the ego, the I and my comes in, it destroys the productivity. It corrupts the present action. When it corrupts the present action, like I said, you get into a vicious cycle. And the vicious cycle is you get agitated. As a result, you can't think properly. You don't do the right action. You don't get the productivity. You don't get the success. And that agitates you even more. And then you get caught in this cycle. Therefore, it is extremely important to manage your mind and ego. And there's a very interesting example discussed in the Shastras, in the scriptures, and the masters give this example. Like in Kerala roads, they are very small roads. And on either side of the roads, they have small shops selling bananas and all that. A bunch of bananas hanging there. And in Kerala, you will see a lot of elephants. So when the elephants are walking on the road, they will be swinging their trunk on either side, And when they swing, they catch hold of the banana bunch from this shop and they eat, and banana bunch from the other shop and they eat. So to control the elephant's trunk from swinging, the mahout who's sitting on top of the elephant, he gives a stick to the elephant. When he gives a small stick, the elephant's trunk rolls up. It rolls up and it straightens. the swinging stops. Similarly, to be able to increase our productivity, to bring about prosperity and peace together, we need an ideal in life. Ideal or a goal, what you call as something beyond your selfish, self-centered interest. If you are all the time thinking only about yourself, start thinking about your family. If you're thinking about your family, then think about your community. If you're only thinking about your community, then think about a country. If you're only thinking about your country, then think about the entire humanity. If you're thinking about the humanity, then think of the other species as well. So slowly, slowly, thus you rise to greater goals, greater heights. So you pitch up a higher goal with your intellect. So ideal action has two aspects to it. The first one is it should generate energy. In fact, if I'm doing action correctly, the end of the action and during the course of the action also, I should be having a lot of energy at my disposal. And I should not be going through mental fatigue. See, throughout the day, if I work, I may physically become tired. That is human. But becoming mentally fatigued means I do not know how to act. So in this chapter, verse number 30, he gives what is called as the technique of right action or the blueprint of right action. Where Sri Krishna says, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. This is the verse, exact verse. I'll explain, I'll translate and explain. He says, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. In me, renounce all actions. Adhyatma chetasa, with thoughts resting on the self. Nirashi means free from hope, anxiety, future anxiety, free from hope. Nirmama, mama means mine, minus, ego, attachment, mamakara. The mama, ego, represents the past. Because when I say to somebody, Pata hai main kaun hu, mera baap kaun hu, it's all my past. I'm a degree holder, I'm an engineer, I'm this, I'm that, I've lectured here, I've lectured there, you know. So all this is what? My past. So nirashi means free from hope, which is future anxiety. Nirmama means past worries. With becoming free from the anxieties of the future and worries of the past, yudhyasva. Yudhyasva means fight. Fight in the context because Sri Krishna is talking to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So he is telling him to fight, which happens to be his duty there. So fight means do your duty. Face the challenges of your life. Fight doesn't mean fight with each other. Yudhyasva means fight. Be in the struggle of life. Face the challenges of life. Yudhyasva. Vigata jvaraha. Jvara means fever. That fever is doing, I have to do, that excitement. So I said, ideal action envisages two aspects. Number one, it should generate energy. Number two, it should prevent the energy from getting dissipated in the lower channels. So firstly, when I talk about generating energy, the greater the goal, the greater the energy. Now, we have seen a lot of documentary on Mahatma Gandhiji in some of the television channels, or maybe even when we go to watch movies, they used to put these documentaries sometimes. And when you see that, you know, when Mahatma Gandhiji is walking, leading a procession or something, at that old age, with that frail body, has tremendous energy, walking so fast. From where is he getting that energy even in that age? It is due to his dedication towards a larger purpose, a higher goal. A human being can do this consciously, while you see all the animals are doing it unconsciously for the welfare of the world. They are just doing what they have to do for the welfare of the world. See, I'll give you a simple example. I read this article many years ago in one of the newspapers. Now we suffer with this dengue, chikungunya and all these things because of mosquitoes. Now they are caused especially by the mosquitoes which breed in a clean water. Apparently, when it rains, the first few days the water stagnates from that, or anywhere, if there's a bucket of water which is unused for 3-4 days, the mosquitoes go and lay the egg there. That particular mosquito causes dengue. Now, we have seen this when we used to grow up. When it rains like that for within 2-3 days, there'll be a lot of tadpoles. And once they grow and become frogs, they start eating up all the mosquito eggs. So human beings were protected. Now, in the name of many things, we have destroyed all that. So now you don't see all those tadpoles and all that. So what I'm coming to is, the frog is doing its duty. It is also functioning for the welfare of the world. In fact, you and me owe our existence to that frog also. You and me owe our existence to the tree. It is giving oxygen, taking in carbon dioxide. We owe our existence to the nature in many sense. So every species is dedicatedly doing what they have to do for the total, the big picture. So only human being, he thinks like, what I can get. What is my benefit? What is in it for me? So he says, the moment you think like that, you shrink yourself. When you shrink, your energy also dissipates. Because me versus the world now. I'm not dissolved in the total. Now there is a friction created in my mind. I'm limited, so finite. And I'm not sure, will I get it, will I not get it? All this creates agitations and dissipates my energy. So he says, the greater the ideal, the greater the energy. So one must pitch up a goal with our intellect. And then, that is what is meant by Adhyatma Chetasa, thoughts resting on the self. And in me, renounce all actions. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. What that means is, once you set the goal, the mind must surrender to that goal. Thereafter, the mind's personal likes and dislikes should not be catered to. If it is against the goal, one should try to control the mind, the personal likes and dislikes. I should do what is in the interest of the organization. What is in the interest of the nation. I may have a personal likes and dislikes which is completely different. But that's not good for the organization. That's not good for the country. That's not good for the humanity. So whatever the goal may be, so my mind must surrender to that goal. When my mind doesn't surrender, then it wants to get into its convenience. And it's not convenient for me, so I will not do it. So the I comes, the me comes, the mind comes. The surrender is not there. To understand this surrender aspect, I would like to bring in the example of the ambassador of any country. Indian ambassador, when he or she speaks in the particular country in which they are ambassadors of India, whatever they may say, they'll say tomorrow in the newspaper, next day in the newspaper, they'll say, India says. They won't say Indian ambassadors, India says. So, the clothes they wear, how they conduct themselves, everything in constant awareness of India. That's how an ambassador functions. So that's how a professional should function. A sportsman should function like that. For that matter, any profession. So, intellect pitches up a higher goal and mind surrenders to that goal. And the body acts towards that goal. These are the three equipments we have. We don't have any other equipment. You have the body, you have the mind, you have the intellect. So your intellect must pitch up a goal, and body must surrender to that goal. Sorry, mind must surrender to that goal, and your body must act dynamically towards that goal. This will generate energy. For example, when you bring in a lens and pass the sun, allow the sunlight to pass through the lens on a piece of paper, all the energy focus through the lens on a piece of paper burns it. So when all your energy is channelized towards a goal, there is tremendous power that you get. Your actions turn dynamic and powerful. So this will generate energy. And then the areas in which the energy gets dissipated, the energy gets dissipated in the areas of the past, future, and present. With reference to the past, the worries of the past. With reference to the future, the anxieties of the future. And in the present, excitement. Oh, between 4 and 5, I have to talk, I have to talk, I have to talk, I have to talk. Don't get excited, relax. So, worries of the past, anxieties of the future, excitement in the present, all these three has to be controlled by your intellect. Now, past is something that is dead and gone. Future is something that is yet to be born. No one can ever come in contact with future. When you meet it, you will meet it as present only. And when you talk about future, what is this future? Desire, what is that? It's a bridge connecting the present with the future. Desire. So I must control my desire and direct it for a cause. Now, when I do that, when we say that you should not have worries of the past and anxieties of the future, are we suggesting that you should not plan for the future and learn from the past? No. In fact, planning for the future is a present action. When your mind by itself goes to the future, it is a weakness, it is a dissipation. But when your intellect takes your mind to the future in the present, which is what we call as planning, it's a present action, fully intellect sanctioned action, a conscious, discriminate action. Similarly, when your mind by itself goes to the past, it dissipates energy, it's a weakness. But when your intellect takes your mind consciously to the past, it's a present action, it's a conscious action, it's a discriminate action. It generates energy, it doesn't dissipate energy. So when Vedanta says clip the past, clip the future, it doesn't say learning from past you should not and planning for the future is abandoned. No, it doesn't say that. You've got to plan for the future and learn from the past, but all that is the present action. And similarly, this fever, jwara, what you call as kamagni. See, when the desire takes over, there is resistance. See, this universe is not designed to cater to one particular individual's desires at all times. Now, if somebody has organized their daughter's wedding on the seashore, and the same city or village, the farmer is, praying for rain. Now, you are praying for no rain, and because you have organized your daughter's wedding there, and the farmer is praying for rain because he's sown the seed, he needs rain. Now, whose desire God is going to take care or nature is going to take care? We have no idea. So the world is not designed to cater to one particular individual's desires. Remember, the law is you get what you deserve, not what you desire. When your desire is directed to the goal and when you function, you begin to deserve. When you don't direct your goal to desire to a goal and execute the action without attachment, you don't deserve. So you need to understand that this fever that comes is due to the resistance. Like, even this coronavirus, one of the symptoms for COVID patients is fever. Why this is happening? We know this. When the virus or bacteria is attacking our body, the body is fighting with it. And when the body is fighting, it increases the temperature, the heat. So this resistance. So when there is resistance, heat increases, heat generates. We know this. So the moment we become selfish, there is a clear resistance between us and the universe. As a result of this resistance, there is fever, there's jwara. So the moment you act to fulfill only your desire, then I hope my desire is fulfilled. The hope comes. Anxiety comes. I hope my desire will be fulfilled. I hope my desire will be fulfilled. That anxiety is there. And then, mama, my action. I must get the reward. And this fear of it going wrong. In Tamil we say, Madiyila ganam, valiyila bayam, they say in Tamil. In your pocket, if you have some, jewelry, or if you are carrying a very expensive mobile phone, let us say, and you are walking on the road, then there may be fear in you that somebody may come and snatch it away. Madiyila ganam, valiyila bayam. Meaning, you are carrying something, there is fear. So, I am doing. See, you have eaten the food and you are sleeping, but the nature is digesting your food and distributing it. And while you are sleeping, the earth is revolving and the gravitational force is taken care of. As soon as you are born, the mother's milk is ready. Who is taking care of all this? So that attachment, that, we tend to forget the role played by the big picture. So when we understand that, then that attachment will not be there. Mama, my action will not be there. I then begin to understand that the nature is functioning through me. See, for example, if I'm talking now, you are seeing me talking, but what you are not seeing is through me and behind me, my guru and the entire guru parampara is talking. Only the mistakes are mine. Every now and then when my ego comes in, then I blabber. So if I consciously step aside, allow my guru parampara to talk through me, then everything I will talk will make sense to you. So the technique of right action is learning to consciously step aside and allow the totality to function through me. Like we go to the airport with our luggage, they say, if you're traveling domestic travel, they say some 15 or 20 kilos, they allow you. And you are carrying it, it's heavy. And once you go to the airport, you check in. You happily travel. You don't carry it on your head, it's coming in the same flight. Similarly, you need to learn to let go the result. The result depends on so many factors. It's not in my hands. See, I have no habit of talking alone. Now, we had a discussion that this week we'll have a class from 4 to 5. And I have said that, and Ravi and everybody had coordinated and organized this. And I signed in and come. If supposing when I come in, nobody is there. I don't have the habit of talking alone. So this class won't be happening. So for this class to happen, few of you need to come, which is not in my hands. and the internet connection has to be proper at my end, at your end. There are so many factors over which I have no control. So if I have this myness, I am doing, I, without understanding the contribution of everybody else, the I comes in, then the fever comes in. The hope, the attachment, the fever, they dissipate my energy. Then there is, fear, because I'm attached. I'm not letting go. So once I let go, I can freely float. I don't know if you've tried it in the swimming pool or in the ocean. Now, ocean, because it has a lot of salt water, it's easier, but don't try it if you don't know swimming. Or if there is somebody else, I won't suggest that you do that, but I've done it. And you just float. You are not doing anything, you are floating because, you are not resisting. Even in the swimming pool, if you relax, you will float. If you hold yourself tightly, then then you'll go down. And this is what we are doing. You think, I am doing everything. Yeah, I'm here in charge of Delhi Central Vedanta Institute, Delhi. I came in 2005. Before me, somebody else was there. Now, I don't know what is in store for me tomorrow. So the Delhi Center is not dependent on me. If something happens to me, if I am gone somewhere or whatever, Delhi Center will continue. Men may come, men may go. I go on forever, says the brook. So the river flows. Civilizations come and civilizations go. It goes on forever. So I don't have to assume this ego that the whole thing is resting on me. Chairman, managing director, general manager, big deal, so what? So many chairmen have come and gone, managing directors have come and gone, general managers have come and gone. They'll come and go. You are there, do what you have to do with no prefix, no suffix. But no, we will bring in the prefix, we'll bring in the suffix, we'll mess it up, we'll bring in the attachment, and then we'll hold on. There's a constant fear, stress, and then we'll attribute stress to work. Work cannot give you stress. It's how you approach your work that gives you stress. So, this attachment spoils everything. You should learn to let go. Let go of not action, let go of your attachment to result. Remember this. Vedanta never says, let go of your action. Even Bhagavan, if he is born in a particular role, as per the obligation of that role, he or she will do and get out. That's what our dharmas teach us. In your role, what you have to do it, get out. Now, I am the teacher in this class, I am teaching here. When I go to my ashram, where my guru is teaching, I'll be the student there. I won't talk there, I'll be listening. So, as per the role, each one of us play various roles. We play the role of the father, the mother, the children, the teachers and chairman, director, etc., etc. As per your role, do it and get out with no attachment. Then there won't be this fever, this excitement. Then the past is taken care of, the present is taken care of, the future is taken care of, the dissipation is taken care of. Then your action channelized towards the goal single-pointedly will bring you success. And the fact that you are not thinking about the result while acting, it brings you peace. It's the technique of learning how to be peaceful and prosperous. So a human being means one who functions with an ideal in mind, a goal, a purpose. Mahatma Gandhi also says, find a purpose, means will follow. How long are we going to work for the means? When you go for a walk on the road, you see so many street dogs. They are very well fed and taken care of. They don't have a back balance, they don't have anything. Who is taking care of it? Now, you need to have confidence. There is a providence, unknown providence that provides to everyone. It's the hand of divinity, like Shakespeare says. Like I said, even now, there are so many things functioning. That is why we are able to do this class. So therefore, once we get to know and understand that big picture, and we see ourselves as a small spoke, each spoke has what it has to do, and then we do that with that dedication, with no attachment, with complete surrender to that goal. And there is dynamic action that comes out of our body. So the mind, the fact that it is renounced the fruit, it's peaceful. The attachment is what causes sorrow, not the world. See, just imagine this. If you tie the furniture in your house, the chair, the table, your laptop, everything you tie to your body, and then try to run, can you run fast? You will not be able to run fast because you have attached yourself with so many things. Imagine the same situation is happening to you at the mind level. You are attached to your family, as if your family is dependent on you. You are attached to your company, as if your company is dependent on you. You are attached to your this, you are attached to your that. Every little thing you are attached. So mentally you have tied yourself to so many things and you are running. Obviously your productivity will be less. If you drop all the attachments and run, you will be successful. Swami Ramtirtha gives this story, very interesting story. He says a king had no heir apparent, he had only one daughter. So he decided to conduct a running race. He said, people from men from this age to this age can compete, unmarried men, and whoever wins the race, they will get to marry my daughter and become the next king. And it was a race that one had to run from morning 6 to evening 6 and cover a certain distance. And what he did is, all along he had stacked gold bricks. And on the day of the race, before the race started, he announced, whoever comes first will get to marry my daughter and become the next king. But while you are running, you can pick up as many gold bricks as you want. And as much as you pick, that much will be yours, free. So all these fellows who came to run, they were also picking up all these gold bricks. And the more they were picking, they could hardly run. And many of them, in the greed of picking more gold bricks and running, they got exhausted and died also. Well, one fellow said, listen, I am not bothered about the gold brick. I am going to run and come first and get married to the daughter and become the king. So he was so focused, he didn't pick up any gold bricks. He was just running. And he came first and became the king. And when you become the king, the entire gold reserves of the country actually belongs to the kingdom. So he got to marry the daughter, became the king. The gold reserves also actually belong to him only. It's a very nice story, he says. So what we need to therefore understand is, all these are very attractive. They are gold bricks. But if you get attached to them, they decrease your productivity. So he says, Nirashir Nirmama Yudhyasva. Fight, do the duty, face the challenges of life. Vigata Jwara. Without that feverish doing. When you do that, when you step aside, you allow the divinity to function through you. Then it is like floating in water, casual. So what happens is you are tremendous dynamically acting. There is tremendous energy. Yes, the fact that you are working physically, physical body may get tired and you may just have to give a little rest to the body. Then it's again ready, but you will never ever mentally get fatigued. You will always be with a lot of energy. So ideal action is where you pitch up a higher goal with your intellect, mind surrenders to that goal, the body dynamically acts towards that goal, and clip the worries of the past, anxieties of the future, and excitement in the present with your intellect, and do your duty, you will be able to combine both peace and prosperity. And this is what he says in this chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita. So I can conclude now. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. This was a great session. Anyone with any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, inevitably,
Yes.
let me go first, Ravi.
Sandeep, you'll have to mute people, unmute people.
Yeah, Ravi, that's done.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Ravi?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, so you talked about this example of the race at the end, and the one fellow was a smart guy. He didn't catch hold of anything in the middle, and therefore he got the big prize. Now, so I have two questions around that. Number one, are the other things that you're talking about, which is don't get fettered to any goal, don't get attached to anything, is that secretly a way to get yourself to get to the actual end goal that you want? To give you an example, in M&A transactions, mergers and acquisitions transactions, or in any negotiation for that matter, what you're told very often is that you can only get the best deal if you have the ability to walk away. Only if you have the ability to walk away and just say, I don't want this,
Yeah.
do you actually get it.
Yes.
So, therefore, similarly, are you saying that if you don't attach yourself to anything and if you have the ability to walk away from anything, only then will you truly get it?
Yes.
So are you therefore saying that it's actually this a strategy or a tactic to actually get what you want by saying that you actually are not wanting that thing? So that is, yeah.
If
sorry.
it's a strategy, it won't work because you will be exposed. If it's an attitude, it will work.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, Jesus Christ also says the same thing. He that loseth his self for my sake shall find it. So whether it is Jesus Christ or Lord Krishna or you go to Prophet Muhammad, everybody is saying the same thing in their own different language. That's all. They addressed a different set of people, so they used a different example and different context. That's all. But at the end of the day, the philosophy is same. So the point is, if you use it as a strategy, there is somewhere down the line expectation and attachment. And to that extent, you are not really going to walk away. So there is a weakness. You see, you are not in the position of strength to negotiate.
Yeah.
See, whenever you negotiate, see, during this Kargil war, the Indian soldiers found it very difficult to fight back because they're already sitting at the peak. They had climbed the peak and from there they're shooting us. They're at the vantage position. So if you have let go, then you are powerful, like you used the example of M&A and all that. Because you are ready to walk off. You have nothing to lose. You understand? You have nothing to lose. So, but if it is a strategy, there is something to lose. You are only putting up a brave front. You are not really brave. So, therefore, I am not saying it's a strategy. It's an attitude in life.
Okay.
Truly speaking, you let go.
Okay.
And believe me, you should start that with your wife. Your relationship will become much better now.
So what should I let go of her?
Anything, whatever she says, you should say it's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was one question. The second question I had was that in this, again, your same example of the king and the fellow who was running the race. So he won the big prize, he got married to the girl, and he won the kingdom, and he got all the reserves and everything. So in life, what is the race that we're running for? What is the end goal that we're all trying to seek?
Happiness and
What is it that we
freedom,
want to
nothing
actually
else.
get? Sorry?
Happiness and freedom, nothing else.
Hmm.
Whatever you get, if it's not going to give you happiness, will you take it? You won't. What you are really seeking is happiness and freedom, nothing else. Even a child doesn't like to be told, do this and don't do this. They hate it. So basically everybody wants happiness and freedom. And Vedanta says, and even the Western philosophers, everybody say, that is within you. That is your true nature. That's all. So truly speaking, what we need to understand is, see, you're not running a race. You are living your life. In this life, each one of us have some talent or the other. Like, Emerson says, Ralph Waldo Emerson, he beautifully says, talents differ, all is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forest on my back, neither can you crack a nut. See, there is a beautiful poem called Mountain and the Squirrel. by Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Mhm.
Mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel, he says. And in the quarrel, the mountain said, "Hey, I am a big fellow, man. You are nothing. What are you?" Quarrel started. And the squirrel says, "Listen, I agree that I am small. But it says, all is well and wisely put. Talents differ. All is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut." I don't deny you carry forests on the back, but can you crack a nut? But I need you, you need me. Let us understand this. So why fight? So similarly, you have a certain talent, you offer it with the best interest you can to the welfare of the world, and what comes out of it, you enjoy your life. So it is here we have come to give and take. Parasparam bhavayantaha. You understand? Like the nightingale should sing, the glowworm should give light. The nightingale should, by singing, give joy to the glowworm. The glowworm should give light to the nightingale. This is how we live. But unfortunately, what has happened here, the ego comes in. Then I should be one in the Fortune 500, Fortune this, Fortune that. It is all number game. It will change tomorrow if your share value goes down. Recently I read this, what's this guy's name? Elon Musk. He lost some $30 billion or something like that. I forgot the exact amount. It's a share value going up and down. Let's not get involved in all this. You have a certain talent, do it to the best of your ability and get out. So we are here to give and enjoy.
And is it that all of us have a different, so you said happiness and freedom is what we should all attain, go for. Now, will we all get happiness and freedom from doing the same things, attaining the same end goal, or do we all have different end goals that we have to work towards?
No, see, happiness is within. It is not an outcome of an action. You understand? Happiness is something that belongs to the inside, not the outside. So it's not what you do that's going to give you happiness. It's how you do it. Okay. So what I'll do is maybe next session, though of course it will also be with few verses in the Gita here and there, but next session I can dedicate for happiness.
Okay.
The whole session we can discuss about happiness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let some
other questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anybody else wants to ask any question? Okay, I don't think there are any more questions. But I personally found today's session very useful. So Swami,
do you have any questions?
But I don't have any questions. I found the session very useful. So Swamiji, next Sunday at 11 o'clock, if it's okay with you?
Yeah, 11 is fine next week. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And thank you to Swamiji for this. Bye-bye.